Okay, I'm going to discuss a little bit more about the introduction in Tarantella, a couple of more techniques that may help you to play this piece. There's a passage on the second page, depending on what edition you have. This is the Zeno Franciscati version. And this passage says, toujours sautier, which basically means always sautier. And sautier in French actually means to skip. Sauter is to jump. Sautier is to skip. And so you want to have kind of a skipping feel, like you're skipping stones almost. And so forth. Now the way I'm doing this, you hear how I'm doing a little bit of an accent after or on every downbeat of each measure? What I'm doing is, now this is very similar in motion, vertical motion, to that part from the Bach Partita, third partita in E major, first movement. This motion of that motion is the same for as it relates to your elbow. And what I'm doing is I'm actually pivoting or setting my elbow and my arm to where I would normally put it if I were just to play a normal note on the A string. And then I think either higher or lower depending on which other string I'm hitting. So the D string would be higher, and then the A string would be normal, and then the E string would be lower. So higher, normal, lower, lower, middle, and higher. So and in this particular case, for sautier, I'm actually moving my elbow, whereas if I'm doing the Bach Partita, typically my arm will stay pretty consistent. Maybe it'll move a little bit, but for the sautier, I'm actually moving quite a bit. And the reason why, I think, in my opinion, is because when you start each downbeat and you have that accent, I'm accenting the first note because I'm throwing the bow a little bit by initiating with my elbow. So my elbow kind of goes a little bit like this, and my wrist, because my wrist is loose and not tight at all, it follows through with kind of a kick. And when you speed that up, then you can start to hear the bounce. Now you're not going to really hear the bounce when you're doing it slowly, but you should be feeling that motion so that when you do it normal speed, then you actually get that bounce. So a little bit of sautier. Let's talk a little bit about hitting some of the high notes. Now I know that it has a really high passage in here, where it has, first it has, and then it goes up, and then it goes up to, boy, that's hard. I had to eyeball my finger that time because I haven't played this for a while, and it shows. There are two ways that I know of that you can play that part. This, and I actually tried doing the way that I don't normally play it, which is to extend out your finger. Because for whatever reason I thought I could do it. I obviously can't. The way that I did it when I played this piece was I did it this way, where you're coming into the passage, and I go up, and I go up and then do octaves as opposed to trying to reach for it, because for me I'm not as comfortable trying to reach for the note, which you could hear earlier. So when you get up there, you have to be pretty quick about it because you're going from So you have to memorize how that feels getting up there. And you can also kind of eyeball it and see where your finger ends up in relation to your pinky. Pretty hard to do though. I actually haven't gotten it right once yet on this video. And if I were to practice this myself, I would probably practice it very slowly. And if I kept missing it like I am right now, I'll actually let my finger slide up and pull my bow so I can hear it and see how far it has to slide up. Okay, I highly recommend not doing this when there are other people in the building or anywhere close by. In fact, hopefully I'm not bothering the neighbors. But what that does is it starts to teach your hand where the finger needs to go. So, and what I do after I get it a few times correctly, where I'm going, and I'm hearing that and feeling it, then I start to lessen the amount of slide that I play. Until to the point where I'm not playing the slur hardly at all. Except for that little tiny bit at the end where I missed. You see how now that I've even been practicing it in front of the camera, I am getting used to it. Where I'm going to start hitting it, and then when I get confident enough, so when you're doing it fast, let's see if I can even do it. You see how fast I got up there? The other way you can do it, which I obviously haven't practiced, but is to replace your fourth finger with your first finger. If you can do it. Which I can't, so I'm going to stop. I'm not going to be able to do it, but you could replace your finger and then go up. I wouldn't recommend that one. It seems like too many jumps in succession, so you know, it's up to you. Let's see, is there anything else that we haven't covered? If I need to cover anything else, then I'll do so in a different video.